And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon-to-be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this, please hit the like button below. And if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both our YouTube channel and to the podcast. We're going to try and sort of slowly integrate back into the world of personal finance, even though the war and all of the ramifications of the war are still surrounding us and taking up most of our thoughts and certainly our prayers. But I came across a really interesting article from the White Coat Investor. The secret to being rich is not to buy anything. That's an intriguing headline, right? And obviously you say, well, I got to buy something, right? And if I'm going to end up being super, super rich and never having any pleasure or any enjoyment from any of the money, well, that's sort of stupid. So what's the point, right? Why do I want to be rich if I can't spend my money on anything? I'm going to read a little bit about what he has to say, and then I think there's probably some kind of a middle ground. Okay, he starts out by saying Morgan Housel is famous for pointing out that everyone says they want to be a millionaire, but what they really mean is they want to spend $1 million, which is precisely the opposite thing. You become a millionaire by not spending the $1 million that you could have spent. Now, first of all, I don't believe that. I think when people say they want to be a millionaire, they want to be a millionaire. They don't want to spend $1 million. So I take some issue with that. But he gives examples, and I'm going to give one example, and we all have examples like this, right? He said, I tried to buy a Ford F-250 in December 2021 to replace my 2005 Sequoia. As of August 2023, Ford had not even started building it yet. Did it bother me to drive my old Sequoia for another year? Not one bit. It got me everywhere I needed to go. I don't think it needed a single repair. It pulled the boat around just fine. Nice new trucks are $75,000 to $100,000. That can go a long way towards building wealth. So it's funny because I had a similar situation. I lease a car. Now, for most of you, don't do that. Okay, that's a stupid thing to do financially. There are reasons that I do it, and each person should know, right? Don't quote me. I shouldn't have said this. Don't quote me because it's dumb to lease cars. In 95% of the situations, don't do it. But my lease came up, and they wanted to know what car I would like to get, and because the car of choice is not available due to I don't even know why, but it's not available. So they sent me a whole bunch of South Korean cars and whatever, and then I was like, well, maybe I should get like a 4x4. Maybe that'd be cool to drive a 4x4. And then I was like, well, why would I want to pay an extra, I don't know, 20 or 25,000 shekels a year, another $6,000 a year to drive a car that I don't drive so much, right? So it's cool. It might look cool to have a Jeep 4x4, right? But in these small streets of Jerusalem, it's not so practical, right? There's nowhere to park. The streets are narrow. And why do I want to spend the extra money when all I'm doing is doing pretty much city driving? So I made that same decision. And the fact is, do I need to buy a Tesla, or could I buy, a Mazda 3, right? Because they both get me the same place, and one is significantly cheaper. So I chose the Mazda for that reason. But we all have situations, we all have decisions that we can make where, yeah, it's really cool, or it's really exciting to make that purchase. But at the end of the day, does it make sense to make the purchase, right? It would be really cool to fly business class, within America, let's say. But even if you're flying coast to coast, do you really need to spend the extra money? Does it really, really make such a big difference? For a couple of hour flight, is it cool? He brings another example. He says, people spend tons of money all the time on all kinds of things. You can spend $450 on a dress shirt and thousands on a dress, or even just a handbag to go with that dress. Tons of people spend money they don't have to buy things they don't want, to impress people they don't even like. But the truth is, the last row of first class and the first row of economy plus provide an awfully similar experience on domestic flights at a significantly different price point. He says it's okay to spend your money, it's okay to splurge, but after you do, spend a moment to reflect whether or not it was worth it. I suspect you'll conclude that a lot of the time it wasn't. Whether you're rich yet or not, remember the secret to wealth is to stop buying stuff. The money sure piles up quickly when you stop spending it. So I agree. to, you know, a 90% of that, right? I speak all the time. We talk here about only buying things that you need, right? How many people have a closet full of stuff? I don't want to use the word crap, but a closet full of stuff that they thought they needed desperately, and they used once, or they never even took it out of the paper, right? Out of the wrapping paper, right? Because they never really needed it, right? Let's focus on what we really, really need. Let's be sort of smart consumers. Maybe it's the war, right? But putting things in perspective, right? But let's get back to basics and do what we really just need. All the extra fluff and the bells and whistles, do we really need that? Do we need to spend so much more money? Is that bringing us tremendous long-term enjoyment? Or is it like fleeting second and then that enjoyment is gone? So then what was it worth? Was it worthwhile for that fleeting split second? Was it worth all the money that we spent on that? I don't want to be the financial philosopher, although maybe that should be the title of my next book. But think about it, right? When you're going to make, you know, if you're buying bread, so no, right? If you're buying staples, but if you're buying something that you don't really need or you don't need, think twice. Do I really need it? Do I need it at this price point? Is that you know, is it going to give me such tremendous enjoyment that I got it? I need it, right? I'm desperate to have that. Or is that emotion just going to be fleeting and it's just going to fill a void for such a short period of time that you're going to, again, need to fill that void again. And then you're going to be spiraling out of control, just buying and buying and buying things for no apparent reason. Okay. So that concludes this show, this hour of the philosophy of personal finance. You've been tuning in to the Aaron Katzman Show. We speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. If you like this, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, please pray for those abducted and still missing. Please pray for those soldiers and individuals from the war who have been injured. Please pray for the IDF, the soldiers of the IDF, and please pray for the state of Israel. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.